Welcome to another edition of Swim Easy Speed. Today, someone posted in Triathlon on Reddit asking for some technique advice. So it was an okay video, so I thought I'd chime in and just do a quick analysis and see what we can see. So, the first thing that we always want to consider when we're analyzing a stroke is, how long is that water line? So you can see here with this athlete, feet are down a little bit, hips are down a little bit, shoulders are up, head's a good position. But what we want is, instead of kind of a little bit of an angle on the water, we want to try to get all of that as long on the water as we can. And the reason we want that is the longer that water line is, the more distance you're going to be able to get per stroke. In swimming, that distance per stroke is kind of the benchmark of efficiency. So that's one of the things that we'd want to cue in on, and then try to understand why it's happening. So for this athlete, in this case, there's a couple things that are going on that are probably making that more likely. So, the first thing that we can look at is, on his right side entry. So we come in like this. You can see he's got a nice entry right there. Hand is entering in first. He's got a nice bend in the elbow. He reaches, accelerates that hand through the pole, and gets, a good extension out in front. Now, when we go to the left side, what you can see, and we'll back it up. It's a better angle. Okay, so we're swimming on to the left side here. You can see that the hand enters right in front of the head and is crossing a little bit. Typically and it's tough to tell from this angle, but I'm pretty sure it's a crossover. Then the elbow is effectively entering right after it. And it's almost if the hand wouldn't be entering in front of the head like that, he'd be entering in elbow first. So then what that means is that elbow right here is dropped. So the wrist is above the elbow, and you can kind of see it in this video. So that means this first part of the stroke, he's just going to be pressing down on the water. Down, down. He won't really start pulling himself forward till right about there. So from there to there, it's all just a press down on the water. And, we want to think of ourselves as like a teeter-totter in the water. So if you think about that, if you're pressing down on the water like that, that's going to lift the head and shoulders up, drop the feet and hips down, and make it where you're creating a lot more drag in the water. And you're going to have to really, because that water line has shrunk, you're going to have to take more strokes to go the same distance. Now, the other thing that's kind of probably causing that shrink in the water line is this. So you can see he's turning onto his side to get the breath. You can see that this shoulder right here is really turned over. Remember, all you have to do to get a breath is turn your head. If you keep the core engaged, stay relatively flat to the water, there's gonna be some movement, but it's not side to side, it's forward. If you just turn your head to the side with the core really engaged, you'll be able to avoid what's happening here. So you can see as he turns his head to the side, I want you to look at his feet. So back here, watch what his feet, see how his feet do that classic scissor kick kind of motion. And that is always to stabilize you in the water. It's where your core is overwhelmed with the amount of instability that's going on. So then the feet come apart, which engage the core a little bit more, create a tremendous amount of drag, which tend to bring the back end down. So then he gets stuck in this cycle of, because you're pressing down here at the front of the stroke, this is coming back like this. You get stuck in this cycle of always being on this shorter water line. So, there's a couple things. Some of it's training, some of it's technique. You'd want to get the core engaged a little bit more, and work on that fitness and conditioning to really keep it engaged. And then you'd want to work on what's going on with the left. The left is probably a little bit on the weak side. The pole probably isn't as strong as it needs to be or coordinated. And then he'd start to see some real progress. So as always, thank you for tuning in. And if there's any questions, please let me know. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Those all help the channel out tremendously. Again, thanks for tuning in and hope to see you at the pool soon.